And the next morning, the dawn breaks and the land has changed. And now it's soft and comfy and cozy. And there's bears everywhere. And she's so excited because she knows all about teddy bears. There's lots of teddy bears at the North Pole. But these bears look angry and sad. And they're staring at her and whispering and pointing. And they're not being nice at all. And so she keeps going down the path. And then they start crowding around her. And then she bursts through the crowd. And she's face to face with King Bear. And she can tell that he's the king because he looks very regal and has a crown on his head. And he says, "Where did you get that popcorn?" Even before he says anything else, she's all kerfluffled. And she says, "I got it in Popcorn Land." "Well, the birds have eaten the Popcorn Land. And now there's no more popcorn, and we bears need our popcorn. And it's almost Christmas time, and if we don't have our popcorn, I don't know what we're going to do." And she says, "Oh, well, I have kernels in my pockets I could give you, and you could plant them." And he goes, "Ah, call the master gardeners." And so they plant the popcorn, and in this magic land, the popcorn grows up in one night. So the bears are going to have popcorn. But instead of thanking Dolly, King Bear takes credit for everything himself.
Just like a politician.
And in fact, he just falls asleep, and all the bears disappear. And she's left alone with her dragonfly, like, well, now what do I do? And she's kind of standing there. And then she hears one bear go, "Psst, over here." And she goes over, and the bear says, "I'm sorry. I apologize for our king. He gets so full of himself. He just gets he ignores everybody and isn't very polite." She says, "I just want to get home. I want to get back to the North Pole, and it's almost Christmas time, and I don't know what to do." And the bear says, "Well, I happen to know the path, where the path leads that will get you to the North Pole. So here's what but no bear would do this because they don't want to disappear." She goes, "What do you mean disappear?" And he says, "Well, you have to go through woodland, and in the land of wood are many doors, and you have to choose the right door and say these words, 'Knock, knock, who's there?' And if you choose the right door, the door will open, and you'll be on your way, on the right way to the North Pole." So she goes, "Well, how am I going to know the right door?" He says, "I don't know, but you've made it this far, and you're a brave little doll, and spend the night here and be on your way in the morning." So she and the dragonfly set out in the morning, and after a long while, her shoes start clicking on wood.
Oh my.
And she finds herself with her friend the dragonfly in this marvelous land, all made of wood. And there are lots of doors. The more she looks, the more doors she finds. And she also sees toys, like maybe elves live here. But no elf lives here. It's very silent. So she's looking around, and she's getting more and more confused when suddenly she notices a glint in the sun. She says, "That's not wood." So just a second. And the prince shows up. And he says, "I've been following you. I started thinking about those cookies and cupcakes and chocolate milk you talked about, and I'd like to have a little adventure. So I followed you through Teddy Bear Land and heard everything they said about the doors. And I love riddles, so we can solve this. So they start looking at every door, and Dolly tries imagining saying the words to each door, but nothing seems right. And so finally they just start thinking about it. Knock, knock, who's there? There's our only clue. Well, maybe it's the answer, not a question. Knock, knock, who is there? Maybe who is a person. And there's only one person in this whole land. And he happens to be this strange guy over here. And so the prince says, Mr. Who? And then eyes are going to appear on Mr. Who. And then they know that Mr. Who has his hand on the door. So Dolly says, I hope I don't disappear. Knock, knock, who's there? And the door opens. And the three of them go through. And they go through a tunnel. And the tunnel is squishy and dark and spidery. And then they see the light at the end of the tunnel. And they run towards it. And instead of seeing beautiful glistening snow, they see a horrible land of desolation. And this is the last land that I haven't made yet. But let me show you what it's going to be made of.
Oh my god.
Over here.
How wonderful is this? You are amazing.
Come over here, and I'll show you what the last land is going to be made of. It's all this,
Right there.
all this natural materials, but scary stuff.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
So where are you going to put it?
well, I'm going to take these two apart.
Oh, how can you do that?
I know, it's terrible. Yeah, but that's the only thing I can do.
Well, this is wonderful. Thank you.
Bears get popcorn because she gave them the kernel, so
Okay.
immediately
They get the popcorn.
They get the popcorn.
Yeah.
She gets to go home.
Here's a play-by-play
she
by
and
Ashlyn.
She and the Prinks learn that to get through this land, if they carry each other, they can get through this land because the land sucks the life out of them. So they start becoming all white.
Oh,
Their
really?
feet can't move, but if they carry each other, then their feet regenerate and they can do it.
It's sort of like
So
feeding.
they've been asking for help.
Well, they've learned to help each other and become each other's loyal friends. So, and then she's carrying him, and in the cold of the night, she realizes that her feet are making footprints in the snow. And then she looks up and she sees a little pine tree, and then a little pine cone, and then a little candy cane. And she knows she's home. And as soon as she realizes it, the elves run up and go, Dolly, we've been looking all over for you. Sarah had us looking under every boot and mitten.
Every boot and mitten.
So she has a triumphant. They come back home, and the next scene is she's sitting like this in Santa's arm, and with the Prinks and the Dragonfly, and telling him about her adventures. And he, says, "Oh, we were all very worried, and Mrs. Claus burned all the cookies while you were gone. She was so worried." And then Dolly realizes that she's not scared anymore, and that she does want to be delivered. to a wonderful child. So she gets wrapped up with her friends, and the last scene is under the Christmas tree. Whoever has gotten her has opened up the package and made a little room for her out of the Christmas ephemera.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Oh, how cool.
That's fantastic. So where are you going to show this? What are you going to film it and throw it out there? Are you going to do it live? Are you going to do a drive party?
I'm trying to do a book.